All right. This is Troy J. Robertson back with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap on FabFitFun. Thank you so much for tuning back in. And if you're like me, you just watched episode 5 unfold of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last night. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And again, this is Troy J. Robertson, and let's get into it, shall we? The Dorit doggy drama continues to unfold, as everyone saw the other night, and I'm gonna get into that. But first, I wanna get into one of my favorite parts of this episode that didn't have to deal with drama. Kyle and Mauricio taking Sophia to college in Washington, D.C. This was better for me than any of the drama. And it's like I said a couple of episodes ago in the recap, I have been watching Beverly Hills since the very beginning. I feel like I watched baby Portia grow up into this like little young lady, and I'm in it. I have drank the Kool-Aid. I feel like these people are in my life forever. I'm sure that a lot of people out there can relate. I've been watching this for almost 10 years. So seeing Kyle and Mauricio take Sophia to college, this was just so touching for me. I'm gonna be honest, it brought a tear to my eye. Them going to DC, helping her move in, Kyle supporting her through a little bit of this hereditary anxiety that's been passed down to Sophia. Both of them kind of battling, wanting to be strong for one another, but then eventually breaking down. And then the most pivotal part of it all was when they were about to say goodbye to Sophia, and just Portia ran into the room and hugged Kyle and started crying. I lost it. Unlike Ariana Grande, there were some tears left to cry over here because that was amazing to me. Kyle getting super upset about Sophia leaving for college. Listen, this shed a lot of light on me because I'm gonna be a nightmare when I send a kid off to college, because I cried for an entire month just because my best friend was moving away last week. Like, what is it gonna be like after I raise a child for 18 years and send that kid off to college? No, homeschooling, homeschool colleging, codependency issues right here. Look it up in the dictionary. So I definitely feel for Kyle with this. It's a lot, and she has to do it over and over and over again, but she's still got Portia. She's got a handful more years. The husbands are getting involved this week. If you thought that Ken last week bringing out the receipts from John Blizzard was it, well, you had it wrong, because PK is chiming in. And we know that PK's always been a little bit more of a vocal husband, but as someone who's as close to Lisa Vanderpump as he is, he really, in a scene with just him and Dorit, kind of let LVP have it. You know, him saying, you know, she's one of the best manipulators and the most calculated people in the world, and that's just the game that she plays. I think that he never expected maybe this situation to happen to him, or to him and his wife, but he was very, very vocal about his dissatisfaction in this situation with Lisa Vanderpump. Something I really liked that was a really bold statement by PK is when he said, listen, I just need you to go up and to apologize to LVP a million times and say, I'm gonna say sorry to you over and over and over again, but all I need from you this one time is just one sorry, Your Majesty. Dorit's like, do I have to say Your Majesty at the end? But that brings up a really valid point. Different people bring different things to a friend group, and everyone operates a little differently with regards to apologies and sympathy. And I do think that there are some people who only need to hear sorry once, and I think that there are some people who really do have to over apologize to, because they're going to continue to remind you, to dwell, and to punish you for it. And unfortunately, I think that LVP has proven to be a person that you gotta work your way back in, and that does mean that you have to show remorse for one thing over and over and over again, when it's very difficult for her to say sorry once. We finally get the backstory on what happened prior to the filming of the first episode when Kyle and Teddi went to Vanderpump's Dogs. So Teddi is talking about how the staff of Vanderpump's Dogs, John and John, we got John and John of Vanderpump's Dogs, we got Tom and Tom over it, Sir, Pump, whatever's going on. I need some name variation over here, people, okay? I need some middle initials brought in, like Troy J. Robertson. You ain't never gonna get that mixed up. Teddi is claiming that the staff at Vanderpump's Dogs were instructed by Lisa to tell Teddi about the Dorit dog issue with her giving the dog away, and it ended up at a shelter. They didn't want it to be a secret. They wanted it to be known. They wanted it to be brought up. That is what she is claiming. Her being in the state that she was with Dorit, she is owning to the fact that her hands are not fully clean either. And she's saying, listen, I was petty. I didn't make a good decision. I am not happy with the decision that I made. But at that point, Me and Dorit were not in a good place. I had seen her out at a few social gatherings in LA. She snubbed me, she ignored me. So I was at a low point with my tolerance for her and I made a bad decision. So she decided to go along with it. I think that prior to this, they had probably known that they were going to be filming at Vanderpump's Dogs that day, which is when Teddi decided to say, as long as the dog can be brought out, I will just say, hey, isn't that Dorit's dog? Cut to them filming that day when Dorit actually has to pull the trigger. She is telling Erica Jane in their scene, like, I couldn't do it. I choked. Like, I was all bark and no bite. No pun intended. No pun intended. She froze and she could barely do it. You can tell she was very uncomfortable. If we went back and watched it, you would see that this was not very natural. But this sheds a lot of light on everything because we are now learning that Teddi's owning it. Teddi's owning the fact that she was a piece in this, but now she's thinking that if it wouldn't have came out, she probably would have been blamed for it all, which is really, really messed up. So this is my theory behind it all. I think that when they found out about the dog situation, I don't know Lisa Vanderpump's role in this quite yet. I'm not sure that she would necessarily instruct something like this, but what I am saying is that I think that she allowed her staff to bring this up in front of the cameras for her to be able to, in front of the cameras, say, I don't think we should talk about this. No, let's not talk about this. I think that she wanted to punish Dorit, but I also think that she wanted to show that she was the good guy while having some of her team members, maybe not her instruct them to do it, but allow them to do it because they were so passionate about this dog ending up at a shelter. Like John Sessa was very, very heated about this. And then from there you bring in Teddi, and Teddi has a small ulterior motive. She's been snubbed by Dorit. They had an issue past season. They think that they have this master plan going through. Her and Kyle go to Vanderpump's Dogs. Teddi can't do it. It is still brought up. Guess what? It's one of those situations where you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's too late. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I usher in John Blizzard to Lisa Vanderpump's mansion. We finally see the culprit behind a lot of this conversation, the first 4 episodes, now 5 with episode 5 of this entire season. We see John Blizzard have to come in and really just answer to the court, okay? We've got the culprit, we've got the smoking gun, we've got the glove, and guess what? It does fit. And Lisa low-key handed him his ass, but I think that she should have really handed it to him a little bit more. I'm not sure what John Blizzard's agenda is in all of this. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. I think that he got involved in something. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And Lisa Vanderpump basically said, you put words in my mouth. You went around and said that these were things that I was saying because you heard from John Sessa that I said to John Sessa, I don't care who knows about this. And so it's kind of like the telephone game. It all got very misconstrued. There's varying interests. There's varying motives. It's very, very convoluted. She said to John Blizzard, you have complicated my life. You are closer to Teddi than me, even though you're my employee, but you are not allowed to speak on behalf of me. And whether or not you thought I said, I don't care who knows about anything like this, I would have never perpetuated any of this. And I have to agree with her on that, if that is the truth. I am not sure. I am not sure she didn't 100% not know any of this, because that is what she's claiming. In a later conversation, she is claiming to the ladies that she didn't know about this because she doesn't even have John Blizzard's number and didn't have this conversation with him. Even though Dorit is saying, if you didn't know about this, then how did you know to tell me that I need to shut this down? And Lisa Vanderpump says, because I knew what was gonna come up. And Kyle is going in an interview, well, how did you know it was gonna come up? Because you said you don't talk to John Blizzard about it. So something in the buttermilk ain't clean. That's all I'm saying. Like, something ain't right. And if there's smoke, there's fire, and a hit dog will holler. I think that just like they have said Teddi is much smarter than she leds on to believe, Lisa leds on to be very smart, and I think she's even smarter. And I think she's trying to get all of her ducks in a row, and it's just like what I said last week. I think that she needed to go back to LA. I think she needed to consult with her husband, with her team, gather herself, get her ducks in a row, and then get in front of the camera to make sure everything was right. Because now we have in real time, we have Teddi claiming, yo, LVP, you're showing all of these iPhone text message receipts, but there are messages missing. Like, talk to me when you produce all of the receipts. As we finish up the episode, we have the girls sitting down. Dorit thinks she's coming over for lunch, and Kyle comes over in pink. She's crucified by LVP. How'd you wear my color to my house, darling? And she's like, I ain't gonna be bullied over this pink color anymore. Dorit's mad, it's almost 4 o'clock, she hasn't eaten. She thought she was having tea and crumpets at the house. They're having rosé in a big old wine glass. And so basically Lisa sits down and goes, listen, Ken went to Blizzard. He made Blizzard print all of these text messages out. Exhibit A, I've got them right here for all of you. It's just like, it's so messy and like the river runs deep. Like there's something about Beverly Hills and it just runs deep. So she produces these receipts. Meanwhile, Kyle is like, listen, I don't think I know, but I also know your hands weren't clean either, because Kyle has seen the text messages from Teddi, where Teddi has text messages from someone at Vanderpump's dogs, John or John, I don't know. We've only got 2 names to choose from, showing proof that Lisa had instructed the staff to have Teddi kind of air this or make sure that Teddi finds out about this. So Kyle is saying to Lisa, listen, her hands aren't clean, but she also wasn't alone, honey. Lisa's maintaining the fact that she has never spoken to Johnny Blizzard in her life. She's also maintaining the fact that Sessa didn't know that John Blizzard and Teddi have had some sort of communication or soft friendship. That's when Dorit goes, if you didn't talk to John Blizzard about this, then how did you know to tell me to get in front of this? And she's saying, I just had found out. I just knew. And she's like, well, how did you know? And then they're all going back and forth. They're going, well, how did you know? How did you know? How did you know? How did you know? Stupid. That's when Dorit, it's kind of starting to come to her like, okay, I'm either being set up by Lisa Vanderpump or I'm being set up by Teddi. Regardless of who I'm being set up by, Teddi was dishonest with me, so I completely jumped ship and believed her on something, even though, like Lisa Vanderpump says, guilty by omission, because Teddi is blaming Lisa Vanderpump for all this, and she said at dinner, I just feel yucky about this. I don't feel good about this. But she didn't say I was in on this either. And so Dorit kind of feels a little bit played in that. So I think it's gonna come out, her and Dorit are gonna be fine, but she wasn't told it right away, which is a little bit messed up. And so I think at that dinner, Teddi should have just probably said, listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was in this from the beginning in a very soft way. I couldn't pull the trigger. I think that would have helped her case a little bit more if she would have been honest with it from the jump at that dinner in the Bahamas, instead of trying to play, as Erica Jane said last season, a little innocent fawn. I've never told a lie. I never will tell a lie. I feel really yucky about this. Episode ends. We all know what happens. We've seen the preview. It's the storyline for the entire season. It's not going to be okay. We aren't moving past it. We're not done with Dorit doggy drama. Doggy-gate is in full effect, and it's only gonna get better from here, people. So I need you to check in every single week with me. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to FabFitFun. This has been Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap with me, Troy J. Robertson. Thank you again for tuning in. I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned. Bye.